on the cloud. All right, so today's lesson is the consecration of the priest. So everything, all the instruction that Moshe has been given by Yahuwah to do unto Yasharel, and specifically at this time the Levitical priesthood and how to get that going. Now we're going to start applying it, as you'll see. There it is. There we go. All right, let's start off with the assembly statement. Like we just kind of forgot about this. Like not really forgot, but like forgot to put the slide. But here we go. We are learning to walk through obedience to the Torah together, building in Ahava and Anba, from the Ab to the Yalad, in Yeshua, in the Ruach, and was it in Yeshua, in the Ruach ben Yeshua? Dang it. The Ruach Yahuwah,
Ruach Yeshua ben Yahuwah.
Ruach Yahuwah ben Yeshua. Thank you. Thank you. Because I can read the names individually, but when it starts putting in the sentence. Because the Ruach is right here, first two characters, or is it three right here? Is that the third
Yeah,
one?
three.
First three.
Yeah,
Ruach,
Reshai. Yeah,
yeah.
Jet.
Ben
And then
Yahuwah,
Yeshua,
Yahuwah,
then Ben, right?
and then Ben Yahuwah.
Yod He Vav He, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Because like I tried to keep the coloring that we usually have for the names for whatever reason. Maybe I'm gonna switch back to using Microsoft Office, but for whatever reason, the coloring that we use to indicate each name for whatever reason didn't stay for this OS, not OS, but the Office that I'm using.
I still, for whatever reason, I still throw whatever a Q in there for your, Ezekiel's name in Hebrew. I always say Ezekiel. I don't know why I do that. Right there with you, bro.
Fit, form, and function. See, who were to be washed and sanctified to do the offerings for for the nation of Israel. Not to be confused with the nation of Israel.
The priest.
Correct. What were their names? Or at least one of their names.
Aaron,
Correct.
his sons.
Can you go ahead and get 1 through 10 for me of Leviticus 8, Cody?
Sure. Okay, so one moment. Okay, so Leviticus chapter 8, verse 1 says, And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments, and the anointing oil, and a bullock for the sin offering, and 2 rams, and a basket of unleavened bread. And gather thou all the congregation together unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Moses did as the Most High commanded him. And the assembly was gathered together unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Moses said unto the congregation, This is the thing which the Most High commanded to be done. And Moses brought Aaron and his sons and washed them with water. And he put upon him the coat and girded him with the girdle and clothed him with the robe and put the ephod upon him. And he girded him with the curious girdle of the ephod and bound it unto him therewith. And he put the breastplate upon him. Also, he put in the breastplate the Urim and the
To me.
Thummim. And he put the mitre upon his head, also upon the mitre, even up upon his forefront, did he put the golden plate, the holy crown, as the Most High commanded Moses. And Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and all that was therein and sanctified them.
There you go. So, as we just confirmed, Aaron and his sons were, put on the fit and then were anointed as such with the breeches and all. So, this is the one time that you definitely want to wear pants. What animal was presented twice on the altar for sacrifice? They have a sports team in the NFL.
That's a big one. That's a big clue right there. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yes.
And they play on the West
Just
Coast.
the word big. Just the word big. It's a clue, yeah. If you were to cuss it, it would have the same flow to it.
You said the Rams?
The Rams.
Correct. There you go. I think they play on the.
I'm like football team. Let me name them off. I'm like,
You had to say West Coast, narrow down the search.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we ain't sacrificing Titans or Giants. But we did kill them. Who wants
Can I
to
get this on?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Texas sound like you paying taxes.
Hang on a second. Let me go over here. And he sprinkled thereof upon the altar 7 times, and anointed the altar and all his vessels, both the laver and his foot, to sanctify them. And he poured of the anointing oil upon Aaron's head, and anointed him to sanctify him. And Moses brought Aaron's sons, and put coats upon them, and girded them with girdles, and put bonnets upon them, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he brought the bullock for the sin offering. And Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the bullock for the sin offering. And he slew it. Oh, wait, did I do the same thing? I probably did. My bad. And he slew it. And Moses took the blood and put it upon the horns of the altar round about with his finger, and purified the altar, and poured blood at the bottom of the altar, and sanctified it, to make reconciliation upon it. And he took the fat that was upon the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and their fat, and Moses burned it upon the altar. But the bullock and his hide, his flesh and his dung, he burnt with fire without the camp, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he brought the ram for the burnt offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the ram, and he killed it. And Moses sprinkled the blood upon the altar round about. And he cut the ram into pieces, and Moses burnt the head, and the pieces, and the fat. And he washed the inwards and the legs in water. And Moses burnt the whole arm upon the altar. It was a burnt sacrifice for the sweet savor, and an offering made by fire unto the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he brought the other ram, the ram of consecration. And Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the ram, and upon the head of the ram. My bad.
All right. Thank you. Now, I just want to clarify for my own understanding as well. So I'm going to go to the Strong's right quick. And we're going to go to, come on, all these dang ads, man. No, I don't want to open Reddit. Let's see. That's sad, man. I'm just trying to buy what stuff and they give me advertisements. 8:22. I just want to understand for my own benefit and maybe some other people's give a better understanding of consecration. Because like sometimes, these words sanctification, consecration, anointing, they can kind of blend together. Yeah, I kind of glaze over. So, okay. So according to Strong's H4394, we got a fulfilling in plural that is literally a setting of gems, technically consecration, concretely or dictatory, so like the dictation, like a decree kind of sacrifice, and yeah, just more concept. So basically fulfilling gems. So this is like this consecration is like a technicality that must be performed. Kind of like with I don't know, what's a good example? Like
So it's like in the Yah scripture says ordination. So again, or like getting ordained.
okay, ordained.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and the
almost kind of,
lexicon that says inauguration.
okay, yeah. So yeah, kind of like your first day of school or something like that. This is like, hey, this is the standard that we're setting for you. So just keep to the standard and you'll stay alive in the temple. So that's basically what it comes down to. So yeah, I have a better understanding now. Hope some of you guys who are more bookworms than even me, probably already knew this, but now people who are going to be watching us later, now they'll know. Knowing's half the battle, G.I. Joe. So.
Once again, it takes the blood to be consecrated, and so everybody knows.
There we go.
Right in the blood.
What animal was presented as a wave offering with matzah? Put it like this. Sometimes you have it on Tuesday. And you put it in something that's called which a lot of the times that's what they are made of, matzah.
The only thing I know on a Tuesday is a Taco Tuesday.
Taco, that's the only thing I was thinking of too. Taco.
What
And
else is on
Keep it butt.
Tuesdays?
what meats do you usually use with tacos?
Beef,
There
bullock.
you go. A bullock.
Boy, can't.
And Most High loves tacos, man. I'm telling you,
Hey, that's the Tony. That's the San Antonio.
I know, right?
Everybody with straight tacos.
Who wants to get 23 through 28?
I'll get it for you.
Go right ahead.
All right, this Leviticus 8:23 through 28. And it was slaughtered. And Moshe took some of its blood and put it on the tip of Aaron's right ear, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. And he brought near the sons of Aaron. And Moshe put some of the blood on the tips of their right ears and on the thumbs of their right hands and on the big toes of their feet, their right feet. And Moshe sprinkled the blood on the altar all around. And took the fat and the fat tail and all the fat that was on the entrails and the appendage of the liver and the two kidneys and their fat and the right thigh. And from the basket of the unleavened bread that was before Yahuwah, he took one unleavened cake and a cake of bread anointed with oil, and one thin cake, and put them on the fat and on the right thigh, and place all these in the hands of Aaron and in the hands of his sons, and wave them as a wave offering before Yahuwah. Moshe then took them from their hands and burned them on the altar, on the burnt offering. They were ordinations for sweet fragrance. It was an offering by fire to Yahuwah.
There you go. So just more confirmation that Yahuwah or Yahweh, something like to say, he loves tacos. I would have never thought that, right? Like the creator of all creation loves tacos. But that's what it essentially is. He didn't roll it up, but still, he's like, hey, give me that sweet aroma, and we'll continue this covenant as I have set forth for eternity, as long as the stars, sun, and moon shall exist. So there you go. And then now let's go to what's the next question? No, the final question. What was the required time for the consecration of Aaron and his sons? How long did that take? How long did the consecration take? I know this is something most people don't know because I didn't know. So, unless y'all just like, constantly doing content.
Well, from what I understand, I will just say like, as far as like purification, just because just knowing further into Leviticus, I would say like 7 days, maybe 8 days, something like that.
Correct. 7 days. I want to get somebody else to read. Where's Matt? What's he doing? I want him to read. This is history, so is Amber on? I didn't look. I'm pretty sure she's on.
If not, brother, I get it for you.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right, we got Leviticus 8:29. It says, Moshe took the breast and waved it for a wave offering before Yahuwah. For of the ram of the consecration, it was Moses' part, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. And Moshe took of the anointing oil and the blood which was upon the altar, sprinkled it upon Aaron and upon his garments, and upon his sons, and upon his sons' garments with him, and sanctified Aaron and his garments, and his sons' garments with him. And Moshe said unto Aaron and to his sons, boil the flesh at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and there eat it with the bread that is in the basket of consecrations, as I commanded, saying, Aaron and his sons shall eat it. And that which remaineth of the flesh and of the bread shall ye burn with fire. And ye shall not go out of the door of the tabernacle of the congregation in 7 days until the days of your consecration be at an end. For 7 days shall he consecrate you. And he hath done this day, so Yahuwah hath commanded to do, to make an atonement for you. Therefore shall ye abide at the door of the tabernacle of congregation day and night 7 days, and keep the charge of Yahuwah, that ye die not, for so I am commanded. So Aaron and his sons did all things which Yahuwah commanded by the hand of Moshe.
There you go. So that whole process, the inauguration of sorts, as you would call it, the substitution word for consecration, took 7 days. I'm so glad it didn't take that long for actual college. But this is just an important process because after this point, right? Well, even probably before this point, like, up until the Mashiach returns and, up until the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD, our Levitical priests were doing their job, sacrificing every day, even on Shabbats, at the temple. So, this is just an important step to have daily life commence as such, and to keep evil ruachs from without the camp, and to make what's going to come forward, more of the amazing stories that we'll read about as we go through this line by line series of Joshua and Gideon and all of them, like basically, the Justice League of Yasharal. So go ahead.
What? Okay, so as the read says, and do not go out outside the door of the tent of appointment. It says for 7 days until the days of your ordination are completed. For he filled your hands for 7 days. So, what was I'm this for anyone? What was the importance of not going outside for 7 days? Because that's 7 days of just not going outside this tent was like what was the what would not what would happen, but what's the purpose?
Well, kind of like
Would the process have to start over again?
Likely so. Hopefully, if you would even get a chance to start over again.
Right. So, and do you think it's probably symbolic or representation of the creation story.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yes.
7 days of creation.
Yep. So that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, 6 days of probably just learning the daily your daily tasks that would be performed, and then when Shabbat will come, you rest, and then after that resting, you start the new week. So that makes sense.
Yeah, because the seventh day was made holy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, you would have you probably that morning of Shabbat, they'd probably do the whatever the final initiation or inaugural ceremony would be. You'd be just like military graduation. You be in your blues. You receive your whatever it would be, menorah, whatever they would give. Your mitri probably, because when I played football in high school, like to get on varsity, you would first start off with your school with just a blank helmet. You wouldn't even get your school's logo. And then once you prove to the coaches that you was ready for varsity, they'd give you your school logo on the helmet. So I would probably something like that. It doesn't say specifically, but maybe they would receive, because it says they would get a mitri, but maybe they would something special will be bestowed upon the mitri, saying, "Hey, he's active duty now. He's live and on stage, so he can perform all the priestly duties." So.
And it says also you should guard the duty of Yahuwah, right?
Yep.
And not die. So I have been commanded. So we also commanded to do what as we start. It's part of the closing.
Yeah, it's part of the closing. Yeah, we're gonna read that. They keep the commandments of Yahuwah.
Because at this point,
there's the whole duty of who?
Yeah, the
man.
Whole duty of man. Because at this point, there's a whole sanctification. There's a whole right that's just been done right before our reading, right?
Yeah.
Sanctification and consecration or ordination, however you want to say it. So this whole process was to get us in line. So to set the groundwork, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Pretty dope.
Yeah, because you got to remember, we're in Leviticus now, but we still not that far removed from. We're probably still in that first generation that was removed from captivity in Mitzrayim. So, yeah, that's a good thing about doing this. You kind of get more of a timely perspective. Like, okay, well, our people went through all of this, but you kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. So this all happened together, which led to these events, which fully illuminate why such things were necessary to reiterate or start. So yeah, and we gotta, just like I said, we gotta remember that at this point we're still in the wilderness and we're still the first generation removed from slavery in Mitzrayim. So yeah, all of this is necessary because as we read in Exodus, Moses, the Pharaoh would not let us properly keep our feast days as we should have. So, once it got to the point of after the first Pharaoh died, that took a liking to Joseph, then the new Pharaoh was like, yeah, bump y'all feast day. So we have to reestablish, just like now, we've got to reestablish what we lost and recovering it so we can pass it on to our children. It does feel good knowing that the children that are coming up in this generation all around the world for Yasharal, they won't know what Christmas or Halloween or Thanksgiving or Easter is, and they'll know immediately that most, if not all those beast days were about killing and eating us. So they will have no emotional detachment. So that's always good.
And
I'll go right ahead. Ema, let's let Ema go.
I always say that, this is more, it's a ritual, but it's more than that, because the temple and what Aharon represented is the physical representation of what's in the Shamayam. And so I'm not saying that I know, I'm just saying that it has to be something that prepares them to be priest, Yahuwah's priest. Because if you compare it to the creation, on the sixth day, he said, he said everything was good. He made, and on the seventh day, he said everything was good. So there has everything in the creation worked together to do what it was supposed to do. So I'm thinking there's a lot more to this than just this is what you do. There has to be some kind of spiritual significance to that. Because the Most High just doesn't tell us to do stuff just to be doing it. There has to be a reason that I can't quite comprehend now what it could be, but I think about what you said, the creation. Creation had to be completed as it was completed, the way it was completed, or because those things were created on certain days for a reason. So I always think that everything that the Most High does is a reason behind it. We don't know. We may not know because it's not for us to know everything, but it's just for us to obey. And now we see there is no temple. There is no earthly temple down here now. And we don't have our priests serving in the temple. There are no animal sacrifices and all of that. But we do have the high priest, the Messiah, who is our high priest now, who makes sacrifices for us in the Shamayam. So I'm just saying that it has to be a reason, a good reason for that. For some reason, they had to do that. Maybe it was to prepare their hearts and minds, to get their hearts and minds ready. But I like the way you compared it to some things that we do here. There's a process going through, and those processes are not just somebody thinking, oh, I think they need to do this, but it's also anything you go into that requires some type of ceremony or initiation or consecration. There is a building up of the mind, which is the spirit of the mind, to get into I guess get into the frame of mind to do that which you have been consecrated to do. I just think it's a lot more to it. We just don't know that they had to wait 7 days at the door.
Yep, I agree with Ima Vicky as well because when Shafir was saying it, I thought the same thing. I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, he's on to something because like we know that the finished work, it was done on the seventh day. And imagine like what I thought about was I thought about imagine pulling out a cake before it's ready
Yeah.
or putting somebody, a police officer on duty before he finishes his training.
Or cutting
Sometimes
it. Imagine cutting that cake if it's hot.
yes.
It has to
Yes.
cool down before you cut it. It has to become cool, be cool. If you cut it when it's hot, it's not gonna be right. So yeah, so it's there are reasons for doing stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree with that as well because I thought about the inner work and how he always wants us to be completely prepared because if we're not completely, cleansed from the inside and taking care of the inner man before they go and they begin to present themselves and start performing all these duties and carrying all this weight on them, they need to be ready to carry that. And
Mhm.
so I know that completion, definitely there's meaning to that. We already just know that Yah uses the number 7 constantly, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I thought about the same thing too, but it really does click to me that there's something internally that's needing to be done. Maybe just even understanding the seriousness of what
Mhm.
they're walking into at that time and what their responsibilities were. To show that this is something different outside of everything that they do or anybody does, that this is something that's set apart and it must be done exactly the way that he tells you to do it, the same way that the sacrifices needed to be done and the offerings needed to be done to the T, because there's a reason for it. It's like he wants us to be completely ready for whatever duty that he has for us. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with that.
Well, even if you look back, you see the priests, even if the priests were wicked, most people could perceive that they were priests. There was something about them. And I often see that in movies, especially movies where there's certain priests that when it's almost as if there's an identifying something that people can tell that they are priests. They never stop being priests. They may fall, they may die, they may get killed, like most I may kill, but they never stop being priests. You know, they're always priests. So there's something about that. Yeah.
I'm looking at if you go from Hebrews 9, 1 through 28. I believe this all this was necessary to lead up to the Mashiach, as described in here. I can read it for y'all, but then you'll start seeing the parallels of what's going on in Hebrews 9 to what's going on here.
Want me to read it for you, and you stop me, you expound.
But
You said Hebrews 9.
Hebrews 9, 1
What
through
is
28.
in Hebrews?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hebrews 9, 1 through 8. I'll go ahead and read out the stuff for this time.
Or you can go. It's 1 through 28, but we can get to the point real quick. Go ahead.
All right. Then truly the first covenant had also ordinances of divine service and a worldly sanctuary. For there was a tabernacle made the first, wherein was the menorah and the table and the showbread, which is called the sanctuary. And after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all, which had the golden censer and the ark of the covenant overlaid round about with gold, wherein was a golden pot that had manna, and Aaron's rod that budded, and the sapphires of the covenant. And over it, the kevarim of glory, shadowing the mercy seat, of which we cannot now speak particularly. Now, when these things were thus ordained, the priests went always into the first tabernacle, accomplishing the service of Elohim. But in the second went the high priest alone once a year, not
Wait,
without blood.
say it again. Read that one slow.
But in the second went
Yeah,
the high priest also once every year, not without blood.
alone. Okay, go ahead.
Which he offered for himself and for the heirs of the people. And the
Okay.
Ruach HaKodesh,
Let me
this signifying, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, so when he went in there alone, right? What was this priest doing? We just read it in Leviticus, right? Well, they were in there for 7 days for what purpose?
Sanctification.
Atonement.
Yep. Atonement.
Right. So we're reading. So as we're going through Hebrews, for the naysayers, right? We say, oh, they're going off, right? What do you see in here that's different than what's been said in the law? This is almost verbatim what we just read in the law. So is this going off? Go ahead, bro.
The Ruach HaKodesh, this signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing, which was a
Whoa,
figure.
that's big. I'm sorry.
No,
Read
no,
that one.
please.
So see if everybody can catch that. Go ahead.
Verse 8, the Ruach HaKodesh, this signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing.
So it was not made. It was not yet made manifest. That's big. I ain't gonna belabor the point. Y'all go ahead and study that. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, bro.
All right, verse 9, which was the figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect as pertaining to the conscience. That's it, right? From 1 through 9.
Yeah, we can stop there. But
So
and
so basically they can't stand together. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that both can't be at the same time. From reading where Amaziah read from um verse 8, when he said the Ruach HaKodesh, this signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing. So that was still standing. The first tabernacle was still established. And so we
yeah,
were waiting on the second one, which is Mashiach, to
and,
come. And that's kind
um,
of like what I'm seeing. Like they both can't be there at the same time. The other one is this one, the new one is going to trump the old one because the old one didn't show us all of Yah's glory or show us all that we could have. It's kind of like what I'm reading in verse 8. That's what's standing out to me.
The old one couldn't take away sin.
Yes, it was only a placeholder.
It
Like
was
it
only
didn't.
Mashiach could do that.
there
Yeah,
we go.
The only thing the sacrifices did, all this did was cover sin.
Yes.
Could not take
Okay.
it
not make
away.
it go away. Yeah. Okay, I see. I see you.
Now follow me, y'all. So when the Mashiach is talking to the Talmudim, he said, "What? I must do this. I must go away, but I will leave you a comforter." Right? This has to happen. So remember when you go all the way back to when you were getting baptized and Yehukanan the immerser, he said, "What? The one who comes after me, he's gonna baptize you in what?
Flame.
Spirit,
Spirit.
spirit, and
Yeah.
fire. The spirit, right? So he's telling you, hey, this is what it's a whole cleansing process going on. It's a whole sanctification thing going on right at this point, right? So and it's been set up since the very beginning, and then we see it progressively move along and through John the Revelator, and then as we jump into Hebrews, it's saying, hey, it was not yet. It wasn't yet because the Ruach HaKodesh is now here, right? As given through that final sacrifice. Now there's no reason for us to keep doing it as that way, in that manner, right? Because it says that
Right.
the curtain was rent, right? It was torn.
Mm-hmm.
Why was it torn?
Because it was destroyed. It's no longer necessary.
For access.
Yep.
Access, right.
Right. So if y'all continue, you don't have to keep reading all the way down, but if for more edification, if y'all read all the way down to 28, it'll start clicking for y'all. That's all I have for you.
Thank you for bringing God. That's very, very insightful. Tying the old to the new, as we try to do all the time. As you can see, even with the closing statement, we tying the old to the new. Nobody starts the book 2/3 of the way through, most time. Anyway, but
Good point. It'd be crazy to start the New Testament and not know anything what's going on in Hebrew, right? Like they don't know what is going on.
like, even when you recommend a magazine or a book, you don't tell them to start halfway through most time.
Can I say something else?
Go right ahead.
Real quick. It's gonna be real quick. That's why I always think of the Day of Atonement. That's right before the tabernacles, right?
Yep.
Am I right? Okay, that Day of Atonement is I don't want to miss that day. Because that Day of Atonement That feast day is going to happen for all of Yasharel who are going into the kingdom, that Day of Atonement. Everything's going to be atoned for, because those 7 feast days are what's going to happen in the time continuum, in the times that we're living in. We have yet to reach that day, the Day of Atonement. We haven't reached that yet. For the nation that is the nation of Israel as a whole, that is going to be the new Israel. All of us are going to have to, those of us who are going to make it into the kingdom we're going to experience that again, that Day of Atonement. But Mashiach is our high priest now. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Ema. Well, I mean, if nobody else has any more insight, I do want to say this. I know from when we read, what was it, in Leviticus, what was it, and it talked about the boiling of the skin. I know that I married an Ibriym woman because she loves cow skin. So now I know where that comes from. I thought that was just something from the motherland, but like, yo, okay, so yeah, yeah, I know I married an Ibriym woman. She might even be a Levite because she loves cow skin. I can't stand it, but you know, I don't like the texture. It's weird to me, but hey, now we know where that comes from.
I also think, and I'll let you go, bro. But I think it's interesting. We're all here to serve a purpose, right? We're not just here just to be here. There's functionality. The reason why we're here. There's a functionality for the purpose of the Levitical priest, right? It was said that they were already in the bowels, so to speak, right? Through the first sacrifice through Abraham. So this thing has been, everyone has a purpose. So when you're not doing what you're here, what your purpose is supposed to be on this earth, you're wasting time. So
Say it again, please. If we don't leave nothing, if everybody walk out here and be like, I don't know what was said next week. I don't think that's the case here. Say that again, brother, please.
Not living and walking within your purpose, you're just wasting time, right? And we see that all through scripture. Kind of like when the Mashiach was like with the gifts, right? And when the one servant was he buried his gifts. Hey, I perceive that you're a hard man out here. He's like, you could have did something.
Yeah.
you didn't invest nothing at all.
You just buried it in the ground.
Like, so there's a penalty for that. Trying to play it safe. And that's that gray area. He said, I wish that you were hot or you were cold, but since you were lukewarm, I'm going to spew you out. So you can't play the fence. Either you all in for your purpose for God, or you're all out. You can't live in the world and then live in this. I know we still struggle against the flesh, but hey, we need to figure out what our purpose is. What are we, like my sister Aaliyah, right? Beautiful voice. She's out here. She producing music, doing music. Same with Sharma, right? We have Ima Vicky, the ultimate voice of wisdom coming through, and we can hear this, and we still have her here, so we can glean wisdom. We all have a purpose. So if you're not sure what your purpose is, I would say go ahead and just kind of do some self reflection, because those Levitical priests are here for a reason. So those who are still like slaughtering and doing certain things, right? And they say, oh well, yeah, there's no Levitical priest, but we still got to do this thing. No, they were here for a purpose. Once Mashiach here, that purpose was fulfilled because he had a purpose. That's why he knew he had to go. So let's walk in our purpose. That's it.
Brilliant. Slow clap. So glad. Let me go ahead and read this closing, and then we're going to continue to chop it up. Let's see. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and guard his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Elohim shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And that is Ecclesiastes 12, 13 through 14. Old Testament, as some would say. And then here's the Renewed Testament. Here is the patience of the Kodashim. Here are they that guard the commandments of Yahuwah and the belief of Yahusha. And that was a Revelation 14:12, where she is on, as you say it in the Hebrew. And so that is the lesson. Now I'm Aki Ori, and thanks for listening. And shalom, shalom, shalom.